Welcome to the Point Out Loud Women Trailblazers podcast. In this series, we're going to focus on where love meets leadership, women in philanthropy. This podcast is brought to you by the Salzman Center for Women's Leadership. Here at UW-Stevens Point, we believe that meaningful change begins with students and leaders who are committed to shaping a more inclusive, innovative, and empowered campus.
Well, thank you, Kelsey and Lena, for inviting me to join you as a co-host for this series, highlighting voices of passionate women working in philanthropy. I'm Jenny Riggenbach, the CEO of the Community Foundation of Central Wisconsin, and a member of the Century School of Business and Economics Business Advisory Council. Kelsey, I'm telling you, our listeners are going to really enjoy the mix of philanthropy our guests represent. From nonprofit fundraising, corporate philanthropy, and public higher education fundraising, these leaders are redefining what it means to lead with expertise, compassion, and purpose. And the best part is all of them are UWSP alumni.
As Frida Kahlo once said, "Feet, what do I need you for when I have wings to fly?" Today we honor the UWSP students focused on their purpose and courageously developing their own wings to fly.
We've done something a little different this series that we're super excited about it, right, Kelsey?
Super excited.
Yeah. So many of you in Wisconsin, central Wisconsin, probably know the name Jenny Riggenbach. I cannot tell you how many times friends and acquaintances even have told me that Jenny Riggenbach should be on this podcast, and we did not want to let you or them down. And so we've invited Jenny to be with us, but we thought, we don't want to just talk to Jenny. We want to get her as a co-host on the program around the theme of something she leads in and is passionate about, and that's philanthropy. So I want to welcome to the podcast today, Jenny Riggenbach. Hi, Jenny.
Hi, Lena. Hi, Kelsey. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
No, thank you so much for being on here. It is super exciting that we are able to have you here.
Yeah. So Jenny is a woman that I admire greatly. We actually solidified our friendship, became more than acquaintances during COVID because we would go on these long walks together and talk about our own leadership. A lot of those talks were really supporting one another's power. And, Jenny immediately showed herself to me as someone who has wisdom and deep and wide experience. And you get to my age and you're not looking to make new deep friendships, right?
That's right.
I think you said this to me once, like,
I don't need any more friends, Lena.
Right. So we met at a time when we pretty much had our stock of friends, right?
Yeah. Good friends.
Yeah. Right. Who need, and so somehow I really wanted to get Jenny in my inner circle, and I think it just unfolded over time that she's become very much a mentor and a thought leader to me, and so just so glad you're willing to share that with us. So I want to hear a little bit, Jenny, if you would just tell us a little bit about yourself and about your career as well as your current leadership role.
Thanks, Lena. And honestly, I'm still processing all those wonderful things you just shared about me, and also how much we just all reflect each other, right? So it's I think as women and women leaders, as women friends, when we reflect each other's light, all good things happen. Yeah. And so I could say so much of the same about you. Really, thank you. Okay, so that was a lot of questions in one question. Let me see if I can.
I know. That's how I do.
That's how you roll.
That's how I do.
So I am the CEO of the Community Foundation of Central Wisconsin, and I've been in this role for 4.5 years. But have been working in philanthropy, with and for philanthropy, for most of my career now, actually. And I would say how I got into philanthropy. was really through during my time working at UW Milwaukee for a self-funded center that primarily existed to support nonprofits working to help people find employment, and had to make a lot of friends in philanthropy and learn what that meant, and learn how to write a grant and be responsive to our outcomes. And I think what I learned the most in that time from mentors at different foundations is really being accountable, not just to the funder who's giving you a grant and believing in you, but also being accountable to the community in which and the people in the organizations you're serving. And I've carried that with me throughout my career. So. Yeah.
You said something that really intrigued me, and I just was reading an article by a gentleman who is, kind of a thought leader in the space of higher education, and he's talking about how networking has emerged as a very strong skill that students should be bringing out of the college environment immediately, and they should be hiring that in their interviews. And I like the way you talked about networking just now. So you said you had to make a lot of friends in philanthropy as you started your career there. Can you talk to the average student, and how do you make friends in a field that you don't know anything about?
Yeah, I think it's number one. I was lucky enough to have other women in philanthropy actually take an interest in me, and an interest in the work that we were doing as well. And women that also having an interest in me. And I would say those women, leaders that had an interest in me, I was very nervous to be around them. I was like almost in awe, very self-conscious. But whatever the reason, they always picked up the phone, right? Like when I would call, they would answer, and always have some, they'd ask me good questions, and I started to learn to listen for the advice. And I don't think I got that right away, but I try to practice that today too, right? Like asking good questions, seeing how far people are willing to share, be themselves, and then sort of insert some, life lessons along the way. And that's really, I would say, how I built a lot of relationships early in my career.
Yeah. So Kelsey, you having finished your undergrad and getting close to finishing your master's, what do you think of this wisdom that we're hearing from Jenny?
It really inspires me just because I'm somebody who's just starting in my career, and it's just stuff that I look forward to as I'm getting older with all these opportunities that you've worked with, been through, and everything like that. It makes me super happy, and it inspires me a lot.
That's awesome.
That. So listeners, I want to say that I heard Jenny say a couple things. First, it's a bold call to go ahead and be interesting, right? Have the courage to be interesting.
Yeah, just be yourself. Yeah. We're all interesting, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, I think and even Kelsey, who I really have just been emailing and just met today, I'm so intrigued and interested in her life story because of just the little things she has shared today. And it's making me more intrigued and interested in learning more about her career goals and what she sees for herself in the world of philanthropy. So it never hurts to share a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. That's so nice of you.
I love that. So I think there's a rule of thumb that we're kind of writing here that says your professional authenticity can really show up as a place that makes people want to talk to you more, that makes people want to know more about you.
Can I also say something else?
Yeah.
I think being curious about other people too. Yeah. Even one of the people that we're going to interview later in the series, right? As we were prepping, hearing how as you get older in your career, people sort of stop asking you. And there's so much wisdom and interesting things that come with also age. And so to be curious about people's experiences and the things they're proud of. Yeah.
So I want to offer that then, as translate what Jenny said to us, as a really bold call to action for people on the younger end of the age scale and for people on the older end of the age scale, and that is reach out, whatever direction it is. If you're older, reach younger. If you're younger, reach older. And it's in that reach. If you've got a couple of questions prepared, right? Either way, you're reaching a couple of questions prepared, and you can authentically be interesting, right? What do you like? Who do you care about? What are you reading? What do you want to know about? Think about questions that you want to know about how to be a better professional, or right about the field that the person's in. So you can see, right? Everybody can see now why I hang out with Jenny and why I call her a mentor, because we had 2 minutes of conversation and I'm already translating that into action. So Jenny, how did you get to be this human that you are? What kind of career path shaped you?
We are all humans. Aren't
we are all human, yeah.
I think also following opportunity. So I never really saw myself in philanthropy. I honestly didn't even know what it was when I was hired in this first role, and then learned that we would have to find the funding to support this center. I'm like, oh, okay. So, and taking opportunities even when it's a lunch that you might not be sure you want to go to, because you might want to go alone. I mean, there's many points along my career where I was glad I took that lunch. Mm-hmm. And also leaning into my roots has also really helped me shape my career and my confidence. Growing up, graduating from Elman Bancroft in, just south of Stevens Point, 35 people in my graduating class. And there's a lot to be learned, and a lot that the world would benefit from leaning in to be more curious about just the beauty and the challenges, both of experiencing life in a rural community. And who would have thought that all these years later, the job that I have today serves Portage and West Shara counties, and I grew up right on that line. So being able to take all these experiences in different jobs I've had, different networks I've had, and being able to coalesce that into the benefit for a community that I love.
Mm-hmm. And you have a lot to say about the word love and your chosen fields. Can you give us a taste?
Well, the meaning of philanthropy is love for humankind. And when you think about how we give our time, how we give our treasure, it all comes down to love, right? It comes down to stories of people that touched us, people that meant something to us. It comes down to love for the environment or the arts. I get to see every day the love people have for this community, and have the privilege of helping them align that love with opportunities that we're going to make sure that intention is always understood with their gifts that come from that love.
Yeah. Well, thanks for reclaiming the word love. I love your work to reclaim it. I was talking to a group yesterday and I said, I think American music has literally ruined the word love. It reduces it to romanticism. And instead for you, we've talked about this a number of times, and you've changed one definition of love inside me to be about generosity.
Yeah. Thank you. That means a lot to me, Lena. Because I would say, I also believe fully that we all also need to understand the power of money, right? Yeah. How it works, and how our generosity with even if it's foregoing a $5 coffee or beer once a week, where that $5 could go. It all makes a difference. Yeah.
So then thinking about the Community Foundation of Central Wisconsin, what does it look like to be generous as an organization? What do you all do to be generous?
Sure. So we are home to over 300 funds that have all been established by a donor or for the community to give to. And they all have a very specific purpose. And part of our job is to ensure that purpose is always alive and well. And so we offer the opportunity for anyone in the community to make sure that the things that we love again, are here forever. So that could be the Green Circle Trail. It could mean Schmeeckley Reserve. It can look like Create Portage County or the Humane Society. We are supporting donors to contribute to those endowments that will live in perpetuity for those organizations. We also have grant-making funds. So every year we offer the opportunity for organizations to apply for grants in our mission areas of arts and culture, education, wellness, the environment, and helping people. So lots to cover there. We also do over 100 scholarship funds. Again, set up oftentimes in loving memory of someone that someone cared deeply about, or a passion that someone cares deeply about. So that gives you just a little bit of the flavor of what our role is in the community. And really at the heart of what we do is I think of ourselves as almost the engine of generosity.
Ooh, the engine of generosity. Now, I know this pitch because I've been a donor and I've been involved in the Community Foundation. I am all in on the Community Foundation of Central Wisconsin. But Kelsey, I'm wondering, as you hear how wide and broad the impact of the team at this organization, what are you thinking? How is it striking you?
See, I'm not going to lie. I had no idea about all these different things that you work with. I had no idea that Schmeeckley Reserve was one of them, or even the Green Circle Trail. Holy cow, I almost called it Schmeeckley again. See, I had no idea. So it's really interesting to hear all of this, especially for people that also might not know.
It is. And you're not alone, Kelsey, really. We are, community foundations, we're actually one of over 700 around the country. And we just play a really, really unique role in communities, right? We all are independent of each other. We all have our own board of directors. We all have our own service areas. And I mean, what I think about what a community would be like without a community foundation, right? We invested last year over $4 million back into the community. Oh, wow. In lots of different ways, right? And we continue to do that year over year for all the things that make Central Wisconsin special. So I'm glad you were surprised.
Yeah, no, I was just being honest too.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
All right, so listeners, dig deep because you might be just like Kelsey. Community Foundation of Central Wisconsin. What's your URL, Jenny?
cwi.org.
Okay, there we go. One last question for you as we prep to go into this series, Jenny. What are some of the ways you engage with UWSP?
Sure. So I am a proud parent of a UWSP student right now. So that is the number one way we engage. Is that way. And also I serve on the Business Advisory Council for the Century School of Business and Economics, and truly such a privilege. It's, I think, a university, a school of business that recognizes that nonprofits and philanthropy at the end of the day are businesses that have to meet the bottom line, and we have insights to share. Is really, I just can't tell you how much that means to me and the field, and I truly enjoy that work.
Yeah. So I'm folks, you might remember, I'm part of the Century School of Business and Economics, and we are so lucky to have Jenny on our advisory group. And, what that advisory group does is it supports us and it challenges us. And that is a beautiful place to be. You're now going to meet the kind of interpersonal generosity that Jenny brings to those conversations and to the kinds of conversations she has with everyone around her. So seat belts on as we dive into this series to focus on when love meets leadership by talking to women in philanthropy.
Thank you for joining us in our 8th podcast series. We've focused on where love meets leadership, women in philanthropy. We hope these stories inspire you to step up, speak out, and make a difference in your own communities.
Our guest host, Jenny Riggenbach, is often saying to me, be curious. I have to be honest, sometimes I hear her say that and I just don't even know what it means. But when I review this series, I think it's crystal clear to me. It's about opening your eyes, opening your ears, and asking really good questions, and then paying attention. I hope we can all carry that call to action to be curious forward with us in everything we do.
Be sure to tune in into our next series where we will continue to amplify the voices of those creating meaningful impact.
Until then, keep pushing forward, keep advocating, and keep driving change.